Hey everyone, Steelhide here with Steelhide Gaming, and today we're going to be covering some ward spots. I know that everybody probably knows the basic ward spots, but I'm going to cover some more advanced ones that I like to use, and maybe you guys can learn something new. Alright, so when you are fighting your enemies, you usually have one or two people in your lane, and then you're going to have somebody jungling. So a good place to place the ward here. This is one of my favorite spots. You can either place it just under this tree or, you know, down in this corner here. Wherever you'd like to. I usually place it right there. This gives you great coverage of jungle. You see this creep camp, and you can see anybody, you know, coming from the jungle as they want to gank you in this lane. Alright, so the second place that I like to place a ward here in mid, there's actually a couple places. I'm gonna go over them. I'm not actually gonna place some of these wards. I'm just gonna show you the spots. So one spot is like right here. So if you place a ward right there on that little ledge, that's a great spot. It's hidden from anybody coming from this shadow pool. They won't see it. And it also shows you the black buff, people come from mid, and it shows you the jungle area there. Another place I like to place wards is right here. So this will cover just so you see a person coming in this area. It's not quite as good as this spot right here. You place a ward right here. And the reason we want to place it on these corners is so it's not in view of the shadow pool. So again, you can do it right under this tree, just like on the other side. Alright, so the next couple pieces of wards we're going to show you are mid wards. And there's a couple here that aren't common, but are my favorite. So if you're on that side of the map, you want to get on this part, run, and jump, and place the ward right up there in the trees. I'm going to make sure I don't get followed here by these AI. But you put it right up there into the tree, and most of the time people won't see that ward. If you're on that side of the map over there, you can do the same thing. Run, jump, and place it just in those trees there. If you're over there, you can run, or you don't even have to run, but you can place it on top of that pillar there. Okay, so back mid, this is another ward you can place. There's actually two here. One again is on top of that pillar up there, so you can put it up there on top of that pillar. Another one that I like to do is, oops, that's not my words, is tucked up right there in that flower. So most of the time they won't see it, and it's almost through the wall. So this is a very good kind of glitch ward spot because the enemy tends to not see that one. All right, so the same as that other side over there that we showed you. This side you actually can't do that on. So there's a couple ward spots here. I like to tuck them either up here in this corner where the enemy might not see them. It's close to their tower, shows anybody hiding down here. Another one is like right here. The reason I like this ward is that it shows anybody coming. It shows this shadow pool a little bit, anybody coming down that lane. And it shows this creep camp here, and you can see anybody coming out of the jungle. A couple other mid placement wards, obviously, is one right here that allows you to see the harvester on the other side. And then, of course, on this side, it's the same thing. You can put it up there, put it down in this corner, or up here, like by this tree. A couple places that you don't want to put wards are like right in the way of this lane here, because they'll see your ward when standing in that shadow pool. This is a decent spot right here. This allows you to see the creep camp over here, as well as the blue creep camp. Okay, so moving on to this side here, where you have the orb prime and the enemy's jungle. A good ward spot is right here. This is one of my favorites. So you plop the ward right there, and as you'll see, it covers this exit of their jungle, allowing you to push up in the lane, and it gives you much more vision than it would up here. Much more of a warning because it reaches all the way to here. So as soon as the enemy appears right here, you're gonna see them on the ward. You can place a ward here, or you can place a ward here, and depending on which side of the map that you were on, that's where you want to place 2 wards. Now, if it's getting late in the game, you can place a ward by jumping, and it'll put it up on top of this ledge. But that'll cover the orb prime, and I prefer to use that spot for the orb prime simply because they don't usually check that, and they don't usually ward that area. Another ward that a lot of players don't really know about, or I don't see used often, that also covers the orb prime, is if you run and jump and place a ward right up on that ledge there. Now, here's an interesting ward that you can do for these shadow pulls. Okay, so we're back at the black buff here, and I wanted to show you a couple wards that I like to place either really early in the game or sometimes late in the game when I need vision of their jungle. So for this ward, you can place it right up here on the ledge. There we go. So you place it right there. Nobody's gonna see that ward. It doesn't quite cover the black buff, but that's not the purpose of it. As you can see, I'm in their jungle. That's where the ward is. It can't be seen from the shadow pool, not very well at all. Maybe like right there. But it's a very difficult ward to counter. You can also place this ward on both sides. Sometimes you have to jump in order to place it. All right, so let's talk about some jungle wards. One of my favorite jungle wards is this one right here. Another popular ward is one that you place right here. And that's a good early mid-game ward. You can also come over here and place it right there as well. Again, if you're in the enemy jungle, another great ward is this one right here. And the reason I like this ward when you place it here is because it gives vision of the shadow pool. So you put it in their jungle, it shows the shadow pool. It also shows anybody coming out of the jungle from this lane here towards mid. All right, so we're on the blue side of the jungle, and it's a little different than the red side. Again, you can place a ward here. This one will give you vision of blue, plus the other creep camp over here. And it's invisible to any shadow pulls. Now, late game, an important ward in all jungles, mostly in yours, if you're defending your core, is to place wards in this lane here. The reason for that is people, if you're playing with good players, will tend to run up these lanes and try to backdoor the core in order to kill it. So by placing wards here in this lane, it makes it so that you get to see the enemy coming, can quickly return to base, or kill them as they're on their way. Okay, so another ward spot I wanted to cover is when you're in lane. This is one of my favorites. You can place a ward right here. So if you look where I'm at, and you just drop the ward off the edge a little bit and plant it right there. You can also do this, and sometimes it's better too, right on your enemy's side. And that shows their lane, and if they're headed towards the harvester there. So that's a great ward spot that they don't normally see, and they won't normally counter ward. It's not as important of a spot, but it's definitely something to think about. Another ward mid that I like to place is right here. I like to place that ward because it shows mid, it shows both lanes, anybody coming across, and it kind of protects mid from getting ganked. You can put one in the pool here, especially if you start out with scouts wards. But if you place that ward in the shadow pool, your enemy won't see it, and it works just as well as a normal 3-cost ward. Some other common spots I like to place on the enemy side is also down here on like this ledge in this corner. And on the opposite side as well, you can do the same thing. Okay, so that's gonna be everything as far as wards go. I didn't go over the basic ward spots. You can pretty much pick those up as you watch other players. But I just wanted to show you guys a couple different ward spots that I like to place that I don't see a lot of other players placing them there. So the big ones are the Orb Prime one, the ones near the black buff, and of course my favorites that are on the blue side, that whole lane. If you place those jungle wards I showed you, just kind of in between the Orb Prime and the jungle lane. So just keep these wards in mind. If you guys have any comments or any new ward spots that you also don't see a lot of players placing, make sure that you comment them below. If I can, I'll actually try to make a video if you guys reveal to me some extra wards on these ward spots and make a compilation. But good luck out there. Hopefully these ward spots have helped you, and all I want to do is help you be a better player. So good luck out there in the world of Agora, and I'll see you guys next time.